I've come to the Lincoln Birthplace Memorial, and just behind me is a memorial. We're going to go in there in a second, but let's go to the Visitor Center first and look at the museum. At the Visitor Center, they also have a nice film about the Lincoln birthplace. So let's go do all that, and then we'll return and climb the 56 steps up to Lincoln Birthplace Memorial. At the Abraham Lincoln Birthplace National Historic Park, they have a real nice visitor center where they have a small museum and a visitor film. At the visitor center, they have a display about building this memorial and putting the log cabin in the memorial. At the Visitors Center, they have a small museum, including the family Bible and a map of the Lincoln family travels, and eventually Lincoln going to D.C. They have the family tree, and this is a picture of Lincoln's parents, Nancy Hanks and Thomas Lincoln, and the Sinking Spring Farm. And then eventually moving to the Knob Creek Farm. And this is the Boundary Oak that once was linked to the boundary of Lincoln's property. They have a walnut table made by Thomas Lincoln, a promissory note from Thomas Lincoln, and then they have a cabin representing the typical cabin that Lincoln may have grown up in, along with some woodworking tools for taming the land. Now let's go up to the Lincoln Memorial for his birth, and the monument here has 56 stairs, one for every year of Lincoln's life. So let's climb all the stairs. Now what's interesting is I was talking to the park rangers, and the log cabin within this memorial is not the original Lincoln cabin, but is a representative cabin that they found in the area, and at one time they believed it was the Lincoln cabin. Now once you get to the top, the doors in the front are not the doors you go into to see the cabin, but they're great doors. The entrance to the memorial is actually around the back. And now let's go in. When you get to the beginning of the Boundary Oak Trail, there's a marker saying the Boundary Oak. And you'll miss it if you don't realize that there's a wall that goes around in front of the marker, and then you look for the depression in the soil, and there it is in the soil right there, the marker where the Boundary Oak once stood. Now let's go down to the sinking spring. This was probably one of the reasons that Thomas Lincoln purchased this property, because you need a source of clean, fresh water, and there's nothing better than spring water. So they have a set of stairs. And here it is, the sinking spring. Okay, the water comes out over there, runs across the land for a very short amount of time, and then down into this hole it goes. That's a great source of water. In front of the visitor center is this model of the memorial that was made for the hearing and sight impaired. And right behind it is the memorial. Right next to the national park is the Nancy Lincoln Inn. This is not part of the national park, but it used to be a tourist destination where tourists could come and stay in little log cabins like the one Lincoln was born in. This closed in 2016, and you can no longer stay at these cottages. The Nancy Lincoln Inn no longer exists and was never part of the national park. After Lincoln's birthplace, we went to the Knob Creek unit of the park, which the visitor center is closed on Monday, so we can't go in. It's usually open on Wednesday to Sunday. Here at this park location, they have a cabin of the style that Lincoln would have lived in. This is not their actual cabin, but a cabin that was moved here from another location. It looks very similar to the one at Lincoln's birthplace. So I'm going to walk around the cabin so you can get a good view of it. Behind the visitor center is a field, and the view here would be very similar to what Lincoln would have seen growing up at this location. Well, I am sorry we could not go in the visitor center, but at least you get an idea of what is at this location in case you want to come here and see where Lincoln spent some of his youth growing up in Kentucky. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our visit to the Lincoln Birthplace Memorial. So until next time, see ya.